Welcome to Veil of the Bible, where ancient truths come alive with power and purpose. I'm your host, and today we're diving into one of the most dramatic spiritual battles ever recorded. If this is your first time here, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. We bring you the most impactful stories from Scripture with the depth and drama they deserve. Today's story will challenge everything you think you know about spiritual warfare. It's about a man who became a prisoner in his own body, held captive by forces beyond imagination. Picture this, a human being so tormented by evil spirits that he lived like a wild animal among the tombs. His screams echoed through the night, striking fear into every heart. But this isn't just a story about demonic possession. It's about the moment when divine power met supernatural darkness head-on, and everything changed in an instant. We're talking about the day Jesus Christ encountered not one demon, not 10, but an entire legion, 2,000 evil spirits inhabiting one tortured soul. This confrontation would become legendary, demonstrating that no force of darkness, no matter how powerful, can stand against the authority of the Son of God. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear happened 2,000 years ago, but its implications reach into your life today. This is the story of complete transformation, of hope restored, and of a love so powerful that it can break any chain that binds the human spirit. Leave your comments below as we journey together. Tell us what impacts you most about this incredible encounter between light and darkness. Our story begins in the region of the Gerasenes, across the Sea of Galilee. It was a place where few dared to venture alone, especially after dark. The reason was simple. Terror lived there, not the kind of fear you feel watching a scary movie, but real, supernatural terror that could drive a person insane. The locals whispered about him, the man who lived among the dead. They called him the wild man, the possessed one, the lost soul that no one could help. For years, this tormented individual had been their nightmare. Chains couldn't hold him. Shackles broke like paper in his superhuman strength. But on this particular day, something different was about to happen. Someone was coming who would change everything. Someone with authority over every demon in hell. Let me paint you a picture of absolute desperation. Imagine a man so consumed by evil that he had lost every trace of human dignity and hope. This wasn't someone who chose this life. The demons had taken everything from him, his family, his home, his sanity, even his ability to wear clothes. Day and night, he wandered naked among the tombstones, crying out in anguish. The dead were his only companions, in a world that had given up on him completely. The townspeople had tried everything. They'd bound him with chains, locked him away, even attempted to drive him out. Nothing worked. The demons were too strong. Can you imagine the loneliness? Can you picture the despair of a soul trapped inside its own body, watching helplessly as evil forces controlled every movement? He cut himself with stones, creating wounds that never seemed to heal properly. The demons drove him to self-destruction, delighting in his pain and suffering. No one dared approach the cemetery where he lived. Parents warned their children to stay away. Even the bravest men crossed to the other side when they saw him coming. But here's what makes this story so powerful. Even in his darkest hour, even when all hope seemed lost, God had not forgotten this broken man. The demons may have controlled his actions, but they couldn't touch his eternal soul. Deep inside, past all the screaming and violence, his spirit was crying out for rescue. This is the reality of spiritual warfare, friends. It's not about special effects or movie magic. It's about real people in real bondage, desperate for real deliverance. The man's family had probably mourned him as dead long ago. Society had written him off, but God was about to demonstrate that no one is beyond redemption. Think about the people in your life who seem hopeless, the ones everyone has given up on. Remember this man among the tombs, because his story is about to take an incredible turn. For years, he had been a prisoner of darkness. But freedom was coming across the water in a small boat, carried by a carpenter from Nazareth. The demons inside him sensed something different in the air. A power was approaching that made them tremble with fear for the first time in years. Little did anyone know that they were about to witness the greatest display of divine authority over evil forces that the world had ever seen. Jesus had been teaching on the other side of the Sea of Galilee when he made an unusual decision. He told his disciples, "Let's go to the other side." This wasn't a casual suggestion. The Son of God knew exactly what awaited him across those dark waters. He was heading straight into a supernatural showdown. As their boat approached the shore, something extraordinary happened. The possessed man, who usually avoided all human contact, came running toward them. But this wasn't the man running. It was the demons inside him, compelled by a power they couldn't resist, to come before the one they feared most. Picture the scene. Jesus stepping onto the beach, calm and composed, while a wild, naked man covered in cuts and scars came racing toward him screaming. The disciples must have been terrified. They'd seen Jesus calm storms and heal the sick, but nothing had prepared them for this kind of supernatural encounter. When the possessed man reached Jesus, something incredible happened. He fell down before him, not in worship, but because the demons were forced to acknowledge superior authority. Then came words that sent chills down everyone's spine. "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, don't torture me." Notice something profound here. The demons recognized Jesus immediately. They knew his true identity better than most humans did at that time. But their recognition came from terror, not love. They knew they were in the presence of their judge, their conqueror, their ultimate defeat. Jesus had already been commanding the evil spirits to come out of the man. His authority was absolute. When he spoke, even hell itself had to listen. The demons were in panic mode. They knew their time of tormenting this poor soul was over, but they weren't going down without negotiating for their existence. This is where the story takes a fascinating turn. Jesus, in his wisdom, was about to reveal just how many demons had been controlling this one man. The revelation would shock everyone present and demonstrate the incredible magnitude of evil that had been defeated in a single moment of divine intervention. What do you think about what you've seen so far? Can you imagine the fear in the disciples' hearts, the hope beginning to stir in that tormented man's soul? Share your thoughts below. Jesus asked a question that would reveal the true scope of this spiritual battle. "What is your name?" The answer would shock everyone present. "My name is Legion," the demons replied through the man's voice, "for we are many." A Roman legion contained up to 6,000 soldiers. Imagine that many demons. But historical record suggests this legion contained about 2,000 demons. 2,000 evil spirits had made their home in one human being's body and mind. Think about that for a moment. This wasn't just possession. This was a full-scale demonic occupation. No wonder the man had superhuman strength and uncontrollable behavior. The demons began to plead desperately with Jesus. They begged him not to send them out of the area, knowing their time in this man was finished forever. Nearby, a large herd of pigs was feeding on the hillside. The demons saw their opportunity and made a desperate bargain for their continued existence. "Send us among the pigs," they pleaded. "Allow us to go into them." Even demons need permission from divine authority to accomplish their destructive purposes. Jesus gave them permission. With a word, 2,000 demons left the man and entered the pigs. The entire herd, about 2,000 animals, rushed down the steep bank. In seconds, every pig had drowned in the lake. It was a dramatic demonstration. The demons bring only death and destruction wherever they're allowed to operate. But here's the beautiful part of the story. While 2,000 pigs died, one precious human soul was completely and instantly freed from years of torment. The man who moments before had been screaming and cutting himself was now sitting calmly, clothed, and in his right mind. The transformation was absolutely miraculous. The pig herders ran to town, spreading the news of what they'd witnessed. Soon, crowds came out to see for themselves this incredible display of divine power. When they arrived, they found the former wild man sitting peacefully with Jesus, completely normal, completely healed, completely free from every demonic influence. I want to thank you for staying with us through this incredible story. The best part is still coming. The complete transformation and what it means for us today. The people's reaction to this miracle would be surprising, and the freedman's response would teach us something profound about gratitude and purpose. The crowd that came to investigate found a scene that defied all explanation. The man they'd feared for years was sitting calmly, dressed and speaking rationally. Instead of celebrating this miraculous deliverance, the people were filled with fear. They begged Jesus to leave their region immediately. Why this strange reaction? Sometimes people are more comfortable with familiar problems than with unfamiliar solutions. The power that freed this man was beyond their understanding and control. They were also concerned about economic loss. 2,000 pigs represented significant wealth, and they blamed Jesus for the financial impact of the miracle. But notice Jesus' priority. One human soul was worth more than any amount of material wealth. People matter more to God than possessions or profit. As Jesus prepared to leave, the freedman made an urgent request. He begged to go with Jesus, to become one of his followers and disciples. You can understand his desire. Jesus had given him back his life, his sanity, his dignity. He wanted to stay close to the one who had saved him. But Jesus had a different plan, a better purpose for this transformed life. Go home to your family, Jesus told him, and tell them how much the Lord has done. This was the man's first mission assignment. He was to become a living testimony of God's power to transform even the most hopeless situations. The man obeyed immediately. He went throughout the 10 cities, telling everyone about his encounter with Jesus and the complete change in his life. Imagine the impact of his testimony. People who had known him as the wild man of the tombs now saw him as a walking miracle of divine grace and power. His story became legendary throughout the region. Families who had once locked their doors in fear now listened in amazement to his account of deliverance. This is the power of personal testimony, friends. No one could argue with his transformation because they had witnessed his previous condition with their own eyes. The man who had once been controlled by Legion became Legion's greatest defeat, a living proof that no one is beyond the reach of God's love and power. His life became a beacon of hope for every person who feels trapped, bound, or controlled by forces beyond their ability to overcome. As we conclude this incredible story, let's remember what we've witnessed. The complete victory of divine love over supernatural evil in one transformative encounter. This man's deliverance wasn't just about casting out demons. It was about restoring dignity, rebuilding hope, and redeeming a life that everyone else had written off. The lesson for us is clear. No situation is too desperate, no person is too far gone, and no force of darkness is too powerful for God's love to overcome. Maybe you're facing your own legion today. Not demons necessarily, but overwhelming challenges that seem impossible to defeat. Remember this story. The same Jesus who freed the man of Gadara is available to bring freedom into your life today. His power hasn't diminished, and his love hasn't changed. Like the freed man, we're called to share our own stories of God's goodness. Your testimony could be the hope someone else desperately needs to hear. Don't underestimate the power of transformation in your own life. God specializes in turning test into testimony and mess into message. This story reminds us that behind every hopeless situation is a God who sees potential for redemption, restoration, and complete transformation. What did you think of this incredible encounter between Jesus and Legion? How has this story impacted your understanding of God's power in impossible situations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us about a time when God brought transformation to a seemingly hopeless situation in your own life. If this story has blessed you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more powerful biblical narratives that will strengthen your faith. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. we're committed to bringing you the most impactful stories from Scripture. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that no situation is too difficult for God to handle. Your share could be exactly what they need today. Thank you for joining us for this incredible journey through one of the most dramatic encounters in biblical history. Your time and attention mean everything to us. Be sure to watch our next recommended video, where we'll explore another amazing story of God's power in action. Until next time, remember, with God, all things are possible.